Allie. Join me as I show you a very simple way to do a seed beaded choker using some dropped Czech glass and crystals. Make sure to watch to learn that this is actually just right angle weave and can be done with 1 or 2 needle. Go ahead and look below the video in the description to get links to all of the supplies, some of which are Potomac picks, so they are in limited quantities. Gather up all your materials. You can use a ton of different styles of materials, and let's get started. To begin our simple choker, the first thing we're going to do is use our clasp. If you're not sure exactly the length that you want, you can use a stop bead, but I find it easy to add the clasp first here. I'm going up through the wire guard, and I'm letting it fall down until basically I have about 1 inch or 2 inches left of thread. I'm going to go through the other channel of that wire guard, and then I'm also going to pick up and sew through my clasp. What that's going to do is let that clasp go down into your wire guard and hang out there. And we're simply going to tie these thread ends together and tie a little knot. I'm going to grab my pliers and take my wire guard and just pinch it together a little bit. I like the look of that better. And tie that double knot. We'll come back through and reinforce as we go back through the necklace. From here, I have that 5 feet of my size 8 dragon thread on my needle and tied to the clasp, and we're going to get ready to begin. You want to think about a choker as basically a long bracelet. I want it to sit short on the neck, so I'm going to do it about 15 inches, and I want it to be a little bit of a wider view so that way it stays and it doesn't hang down. So to begin, we are going to be doing a little bit of our bead weaving starting out of our clasp. So initially on your threaded needle, you're going to put 3 11-ohs followed by 3 15s, followed by your Potomac pick Czech nugget. This is about an 8mm, so 8mm works as well. 3 more 15s, 3 more 11s. Going back up the wire guard then, we're going to go through here. And that's going to pull this in towards the clasp section. And you can see it sitting then in that little teardrop shape. Through the clasp, back down through the side here. And once you're through the side, we're going to, in like a right angle weave fashion, come down through the seed beads along the side, go down through those 3 15-ohs, bring your needle out, and then up through that 8mm bead. Once you're out the 8mm bead, we're going to do another little triangle section. So you're going to do 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3 to get that nice triangular shape. And we're going to bring it back into one of our crystals. After the crystal, we're doing the exact same thing. 1, 2, 3, followed by 1, 2, 3. Going to the opposite side of your 8mm bead and sew through to get that nice little look. Here we're going to do that right angle weave again, going through the 15s right after where our thread is, going through the 3 11s, and also going through that bicone that you've added. Here's where we're going to start then adding in some of our drops. If you don't want drops to happen right away, that's completely fine. I'm going to do drops the whole way along, thinking I might wear this with a dress where the drops can show on the back. So here I am coming out, and I'm going to add 1 and 2 of my purple 11s, followed by a silver, followed by a drop, followed by a silver, my 2 11s. Then we're going to have another crystal on the sides and at the top. So you're going to go in and you're going to put another one here, 3 of your 11s. And then we're going to put another crystal, 2 was right, another crystal coming down here. And then along the top again, 2 of your 11s, followed by a crystal, followed by 2 11s, and back into the 11 that you're coming out of. And that's going to create that little right angle weave unit. From here, we're on repeat. So you're going in here and you're going to go through the bottom, which is the 2 11-0s, the 15, the drop, through the 15 and the 11s on the opposite side, and through the 4mm bicone. Once you're through that 4mm bicone, we're repeating again that section. So 1, 2, 3 of your 11-0s, followed by 1, 2, and 3 15s. Add on your 8mm bead, 3 15s, followed by 3 11s, and then letting that drop down, we're going back through that 4mm bead that our thread is currently coming out of. And that creates that link. From here, sew through the seed beads along the top, those 3 11s, 3 15s, and once again, come out through that 8mm bead on the right. So you may not know right angle weave, but I'm going to bring it a little bit closer so you can see the right angle weave. The beads along the top are the top of your box. Beads along the bottom are the bottom of your box. Your 8mm is your right side, your 4mm is your left side. We're going to add the beads for the bottom, 3 and 3. Then we're going to add our bead for the new right. Then we're going to add 3 and 3. And then we're going to sew down and share that bead that's on the left hand side, what was the previous right angle unit on the right. And that creates that link. Sew through the bottom, and then always come out the right side bead, which is going to alternate between your 4mm crystals and your 8/0 seed beads. From here now, we're to the top. 2 11s, crystal, 2 11s. Then we are going to add another crystal for the right side of this right angle weave box. And then coming out of there, we're going to add our 2 11s, 1 silver, 1 of our Czech drops, followed by 11 or 15, 2 11s, and then back into the bead that we're coming out of. So see how you're getting those nice right angle units with the drops along the necklace. And then once again, when you get finished with that unit, go through the top, which is going to be your seed beads there, along with your crystal, and then come out the right hand side, which is going to be our crystal bead. So you can see how just repeating that right angle weave is going to give you this nice seed beaded choker look. When you get the necklace to the length of your neck, what you're going to want to do is add the clasp to the other side. I'm going to mimic the first side, adding in 3 15-0s, 3 11-0s, going up through the wire guard, down through the wire guard, and then adding on my clasp. From here, you want that clasp to go onto the wire guard, pull it down towards the project, add 1, 2, 3 of your 11-0s, 1, 2, 3 15-0s, and then go back through that last 8mm bead. This project can be done with so many different beads and so many different varieties, and I like just to show how you may not realize even that it is a right angle weave pattern looking at the drops, but it certainly most is. The unit here, left, right, bottom, top. This unit, left, top, right, bottom. This unit, left, top, right, bottom. So it just continues on and on and on with that simple seed bead right angle unit. Once you are finished with this side, if you want to, you can go through and reinforce the entire necklace, just running your thread back through all of your right angle units. Now you don't need to, that is completely up to you, but you can, since I mentioned in the beginning about running back down through the thread. If you do that, when you get to the end, you're just going to tie the thread ends together. What I'm going to do instead is take my needle and thread back through my project a little bit. I'm going to tighten this up, make sure I don't have any extra thread showing as I pull my thread in it. thread right there, up into my wire guard. Sometimes it'll escape from the wire guard, just make sure that it goes into the wire guard and then pull the thread so it stays in that channel. Weaving back through the project then, we're going to do sewer's knots, which is going to be making a loop. You can see I'm going back through the piece a little bit. I'm going to make a loop sewing underneath the bridge thread, so underneath the thread where the beads are. I'm going to take my needle and thread through that loop once, through that loop twice, pulling tight. Then it'll get this nice knot right at the base and at the bottom there. With your thread burner then, you can burn down the thread or cut it down or weave it back into the design. This is such a simple way to do a seed beaded choker with that right angle weave variety. If you're not crazy about right angle weave, you can always take 2 needles, crisscross through the beads, doing the bottom and the top. Thanks so much for joining me in creating this simple choker with seed beads. You can, like I said, change up almost all of the ingredients, the length between the right angle loops, doing it with 2 needles versus 1 needle, having more cascading drops, starting in the back, starting in the front, all different techniques that can be used to create this choker necklace. Hopefully this will inspire you to create some of your own. Don't forget to post pictures of them in our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making. Thanks so much for watching, Potomac Beaders, and remember to click that subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads.